entrepreneurs and professionals of Tampa Bay. Welcome to your hour for getting the information, the tools, and the connections for elevating your business. Welcome to Getting the Edge with Kelly Wilson. And here's your host, Kelly Wilson.
Welcome to Getting the Edge. I'm your host, Kelly Wilson. Thank you so much for being with us today. Here each and every week with you to provide stories of hope and inspiration, and also to share information in regards to rebound and recovery. We've all been through so much in the last couple months, and it's going to take some time as we all continue to move forward and find ways to pivot and strategize on how to effectively rebound and ultimately lead to our recovery. So we thank you again for being with us. We know you could be a million other places, so we're happy that you decided to be here with us today. Getting the Edge is brought to you by Edge Media Hub, Tampa Bay's local multi-platform media company specifically designed to assist the small business community with connections, gaining voices, and visibility in the community. For more information, you can visit edgemediahub.com. Sign up for our newsletters to keep updated with everything that we've got going on. Really excited. We're putting together a Leading Effectively Through Rebound and Recovery virtual workshop that'll begin. It'll be a 3 to 4 part series starting June 16th. Still working out some of the details. We're looking at about, again, June 16th. I think we're going to plan for evenings, right about 6 to 7 p.m. So look for more information on that. Again, you can sign up for our newsletters for more information and to stay posted on it. Again, hang in there, and if I personally can do anything for anyone, please definitely email us info@edgemediahub.com. We'll be happy to provide any information and connections or whatever details we might be able to provide. We're all in this together for sure, and it's definitely it's going to be an interesting story as we add to details of our journey in time to come. So really excited about our let me say thank you to our Getting the Edge sponsors. Thank you to All Trust Insurance, your trusted employee benefits partner. Thank you to Pilot Bank, and thank you so much to Tampa Bay Multimedia, WeBeam TV. If you're looking for a platform similar to Getting the Edge to share your message and connect with your customers and clients, definitely consider having your own version of Getting the Edge. For more information, you can reach out to tampabaymultimedia.com. So again, thank you so much for being with us. Excited about our show today. We have a 2-part series that we'll be bringing to you. So later in the show, we're going to be talking with Ashley Butler, owner of Ice Cold Air Discount Auto. So looking forward to talking with Ashley. But first, really excited to bring on Debbie Lundberg. Hi, Debbie.
Hi, Kelly.
Hi. Debbie Lundberg is the founder and CEO of Presenting Powerfully, author of many books, including her most recent, Remote Work Rockstar, How to Work and Lead Successfully in a Virtual Environment. Perfect timing for the book. But definitely, you have also been a part of General Motors. You were a part of Dale Carnegie training recently throughout the last 14 years and have your own national firm. You're a national speaker, facilitator, coach, strategist. You are definitely a rock star, Debbie. Thank you so much for being with us.
You are welcome. Thanks for having me, Kelly.
Thank you for being here. Tell us, I want to talk quite a bit about your new book and all the details about it and kind of where that idea came about. But tell us a little bit about you and your background and presenting powerfully and what that all details.
I'm happy to. It was interesting that after working in the automotive industry for years, I moved all over the country, had a great time, really enjoyed it, fell in love with my husband, and we got married. And I was heading up legal and product delegation for the U.S., Puerto Rico, and Virgin Islands.
Oh, wow.
And General Motors, was going to move. I was down in Florida and Michigan. It was going to be consolidated up to Michigan. And Michael, who I think you've met, he said, well, I don't want to live in Michigan. Nothing against Michigan. He just really enjoys what he does too. And so talk about a pivot that thought perhaps when I turn 40, I'll have my own practice. But instead, I presented the idea of retiring at 33 and did so. That I gave 7 months and worked through all of that. And I loved what I was doing. So I'm not that typical story of an entrepreneur or business owner who disliked things in corporate America. I really enjoyed it, and I love this now. So I started my firm after working a little bit with a consulting firm myself, and now, 14 years later of having my practice, I get to focus on communication, behaviors, and relationships, and I offer it in 4 ways. So keynotes and talks, strategy and facilitation, teaming and training, and then employee development and executive presence coaching. So it's a lot of fun. It's just when March 13th came, I was grounded, and that was a big surprise.
Now, was the book already in motion at that point, or was that something that you put together pretty quickly?
Well, interestingly enough, I've spoken on remote work and being a remote work rock star for years, except I was only ever asked to do it once or twice during the year. So I had the experience and I've spoken on it, and I started just doing complimentary sessions really back at the middle of March. And people kept saying, you should write a book, you should write a book. And so I just took all of that and put it into a book. And since I've written other books, it was just spending the time doing it. So it wasn't in the works, really. It was certainly out there, and I had the experience, but putting it down and getting it out has been a fun challenge.
Yes, I have for years have been trying to finish a book that I've been working on, and it's just a matter of putting it together and finishing it, but that takes such dedication. And when you focus on, there's so many other projects, or when you have other things going on, or putting together a magazine, it's difficult. One day I'm going to finish it, though. One day. So you and I share a really, really good friend, Jason Woody, who's president and CEO of Lions Eye Institute. And I remember Jason, is that how you met through Dale Carnegie years ago? Or did you already know Jason before that?
We met that way. He took a class.
Because I remember him saying that, because I had no idea that you were a part of Dale Carnegie but I've heard very good things about their teaching and strategy with Dale Carnegie. So when I heard that, I thought, well, no wonder she's doing so well in speaking and has really kind of transitioned her career, because you were part of that for so long, and being able to be an instructor or teacher there. Tell me a little bit about that experience with Dale Carnegie.
Well, Dale Carnegie training is certainly a wonderful opportunity for so many people. And I took it as a 22-year-old, I believe. And I really enjoyed it. And unfortunately, the reason I was interested in taking it is because I was really shut down by someone. I did my very first presentation working in corporate, and I was so excited afterwards. I went to the only female, because back then, was in the room, and I said, "How did I do?" And she said, "I don't know, because your voice is so squeaky and you look so young." And she just walked away, and it really changed my outlook on speaking.
Oh, wow.
And that next year I went back to college to finish, and people noticed that I was not speaking up or speaking
as
out.
confident.
Right, much less confident. And to the credit of a professor, believe it or not, I know that I'm getting to the answer, you might wonder. There was a professor at University of Michigan, and his name's Dr. Vincent Price. That's his real name. And and I asked if I could take a class that was a higher level, that was outside I would normally be taking, and he let me audit and then take the class, where we had to speak every single Tuesday and Thursday, and it really gave me back a lot of confidence. At the same time, I thought if I could go to Dale Carnegie training, that would be good for me as well. And I was fortunate because General Motors sponsored me to go, and I ended up loving it and becoming an assistant and then becoming an instructor. And wherever I moved throughout the United States, I also trained adjunctly. And so that kept that going, and it was so fun to see people's confidence really grow as they learned.
I can imagine.
So that's how I got.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say that I got to do that different places twice here in Tampa Bay, and I was honored with the Instructor of the Year in 2005, which is a long time ago now, but I'm still proud of it.
So how old were you when you originally went through the program?
When I originally went through the program, I was 22.
Oh, wow. I've heard such great things. And is that, can you go back and refresh and kind of like do continuing education somewhat like out through that? Because I guess information is always evolving. And we always need a boost, maybe, to...
You could use a boost. I'm not sure if they do. They probably do. I know they do great things and offer wonderful, wonderful courses. So I'm not sure, but I'll tell you a really fun story.
Okay.
When I was taking it at the age of 22, I would go see my grandparents, because it was when I was in the summer, it was when I was working in Michigan after graduating undergrad. And my grandfather had taken the course years before, and we could talk about it. And we shared stories about that over lunch each week. And it's a memory that I'm grateful for.
Aww.
And I'm just so thrilled to have had that bond to share with him. And that's the lasting effect when you have a good process.
Absolutely. And that connection that you had, and I'm sure it actually even helped you kind of incorporate the information when you have someone like that you're able to talk it through. And I think it's a great program. I can't even imagine how effective that would be for a 22-year-old to be able to go through. So no wonder you're such a rock star today. Well, tell us a little bit. Okay, let's talk about the new book, and then I want to get into a little bit of more of some of the services and kind of the keynote speaking that you do. But so Remote Work Rockstar, through this pandemic, and I think like you mentioned, around March 12th, all of our lives changed, and I think some of us foresaw it coming or a little bit better than others, but nonetheless, I don't think any of us realized it would completely shut down our businesses, that we would have to adapt and start working from home. But how has leadership shifted, and as a result of the pandemic, in your opinion, and what do you recommend for us all moving forward? And there are some little spurts in the book that I want to kind of point out as well. Great information. But how has leadership changed?
Well, thank you. Leadership, what's interesting about leadership is it has shifted some of our perspective on it. Most of us wanted a leader and still want a leader who we trust, who has vision, but now we're really focused on, does this person care about me? Is this person available? And what has really shifted is the gap between a decent or an okay leader and a great leader has expanded. It's just highlighted how the difference in okay leadership versus great leadership is so different. And when leaders think about what's happening right now, people really want to know that they're connected to you, that you care about them. And so I often say, think of 4 things with that C part. Think of communication, appreciation, reciprocation, and expectations.
Right.
So if you communicate well, early, often, and even if things change, you own that, and you're appreciative of what people are doing and where they're coming from, then you can reciprocate. So you give and receive feedback. Then you can set really good expectations, and you can have that professionalism, because then you've built trust.
Right.
And once you set set it up for trust, that's all about having logic and empathy and transparency. And so if we care in that really genuine way that I just described, the leadership shines, where if people are just quote unquote getting through this time, then their team members don't feel connected, and then we lose loyalty. And
Right.
Once we lose loyalty, we lose trust, and we have the opportunity to stay away from that by being rock star leaders.
Right. One of the things I talk about on the show often now in our 5th year is leaders being empathic towards those that they lead. It's our motto here at Edge is it's not only business, it is personal. Instead of people, I was kind of raised with everyone saying it's not business or it's not personal. It's just business. Well, I could never really adapt to that. So with Edge, yes, it's business, but it is personal as well. And I think through the years, it's great for you've seen leaders showing vulnerability. You've seen them kind of this leadership shift in a sense where now, and you also see more, I think, devotion from their teams because anyway, I love quotes, and there's something I want to quote, but I know I'm going to mess it up, so I'm not even going to try it. But anyway. But I think it's true. I mean, we definitely we have to care and really care about those that we lead and not just try to throw power around, for sure. I love it. Go ahead.
And I'll tell you what, that I've gotten to see you, and thank you. I've been included at events, and what I say to people is when people say, please don't take this personally, I say, I'm a person. I'm going to take it as a person.
Right.
So that is where we come as a person first and our role second. And if we don't keep that in mind, then we are treating an individual, just their title or their role. And that's a one-dimensional view of someone.
Right, and I think you can really tell within really strong leaders when you sit down with them that you can tell the effect and that they have on their teams, and they shine as leaders because they care, and it's just amazing when you see that difference, and you want to be a part of it, and you want to follow them, and you want kind of to be impacted by their speech and what they do. So I totally agree. It's really hard not to take things personally, in my opinion. So that's again why it is personal. But I love how you've broken up the different chapters in the book, and it's such a great resource. Even defining remote work, I love that because you're like, it's not stay at home. And tell that difference real quick, and the differentiating factor, is that how I should say that, between remote work and working from home.
Yes. So when you say that you're working remotely, means you're providing your same talent, your same contribution, your same services, and you happen to be doing it off-site. If we use work from home, that means I'm at home doing things and I'm sticking some work in there.
Right.
So there's a big difference in our mindset, and there's an entire chapter on mindset in there. But if we shift our thinking to either telework or off-site working or remote work, we're focused on work. If we talk about work from home, all of a sudden we're introducing the whole concept of every distraction we can have at home.
Right.
So it's not just semantics or just my preference. It really is about respecting what's happening when you're doing that work versus I'm going to just get some things done at home. And there is a difference in choosing to do some work after hours and working remotely as the way your office and your space is.
Yeah, and that's a great point that to kind of go with, because I have an office and I love my office, but I work from home quite a bit as well, and especially obviously lately over the last couple months we've all kind of been working remotely. But it is hard when the work is always there and it's incorporated into your home, even if you have designated space for it, it's always there. So what tips and some strategies can you provide to those of us that are constantly working because it's right there? We might as well work.
Yes. So it goes back to that idea of the expectations. And it's not just for the leaders, it's for all of us. We are leaders ourselves, of course, but all of us who are working remotely to say, these are hours that I'm working, and to physically get up and to share with anybody else in your space. So even when we are not in this pandemic and we're in shared workspace, or if you have people living in your same home, is to share what your schedule is. And then even if you don't have a door to close, to physically cover it and not have yourself so tethered to it. Listen, I love what I do and it's my business. And yet, if I don't set some boundaries, then I'm going to miss out on being present. So the best thing I can tell all of us who work remotely is respect your time, because you won't get it back, and make sure that if you don't strive for balance. I know people don't like it when I say that. Strive for harmony. And what I mean by that is, if you have days that you work a lot more, then have days that you don't. And not because you're counting the hours, but more because you feel fulfilled and you don't feel as though you're struggling. Because when you feel you're struggling, you'll burn yourself out. When you burn yourself out, you make mistakes. So even though it's always there, know that it's always there when you can give it your best. And then you can give your best to your friends and your family or your alone time. And that way you come through as the best you.
I love that strive for harmony, and and balance is really important. And I think especially probably more so now as we're dealing with the stresses of the uncertainty of the pandemic or just different things going on in the world, our own community. But balance and striving for harmony are definitely something that we need to master. I love that you've broken down. You have getting set up remotely as chapter 2, and it lists almost everything you could possibly need from a remote work environment, and so you list everything down to so many specific details. I think setting expectations and establishing habits. You talk in the book about when you're onboarding new people, and you kind of stress the importance of bringing them into the office and introducing them to the other team members, if possible. Why is that so important?
It's so important because if we don't do that and make a physical connection, if we can do that, then it becomes, oh, that Kelly, that's that person in Tampa does something. And you're consistently a layer behind a phone call or a camera.
Right.
So if you can create that engagement at the beginning, that's where, just at our core, we want to connect with people. So it's important to bring them in so they see the workspace, they see the people, they even see, believe it or not, the conference room if you're going to have meetings where they're being streamed, so they can physically have an idea of what the dynamic is. It's tremendously respectful for both sides, the workers who are on site and those who are remote, to physically get to see the other person and feel as though they're connected.
Well, I also like the fact that you mentioned, have biographies for every one of the employees, regardless of their position, with a photo that is current. And I think that it personalizes everyone within the team. I think that's a great idea. And even if they're working remotely, they're able to at least feel like they know one another. And I would think that would encourage communication.
It does. And the other thing that might sound just really crazy is, if you ever have simply a phone call or a video goes out, then you want to put just a name tag. You can take a piece of paper and fold it over, put that person's picture and their name next to the phone, next to the speaker phone, and then you remember, oh, that's right, Debbie's not here, but she's here. Otherwise, everybody talks over and everybody leaves the room, and that person's still on the speakerphone wondering what's happening.
Right. Well, and you talk about mastering mindset, and I think obviously positivity, finding that strive for harmony is more important than ever. What are 3 actions that all of us can take to stay positive, helping us stay positive right now?
So 3 things to stay positive. Number 1, be focused on what you're doing. So being present, believe it or not, is such a gift to being positive, because you're aware of what's happening. Secondly, come from a place of gratitude.
Yeah.
I've had down days, we likely all have during this, and I go to what I call my 5 to 1, is what are 5 things I'm grateful for, and what's one thing I can do for someone else? What's one thing I can do for someone else? So think about being present, then the 5 to 1, and then the other thing is give yourself a break. And what I mean by that is give yourself a break from whatever's draining you. Even if it feels like you're having fun looking at things on social media, take a break. Because if you take a break away from that to do whatever else, somebody said to me, I don't want to hear somebody tell me to take a walk. I don't want to hear that again. So it's not that you have to take a walk, but it's take a break. Because what I call Zoom gloom and Zoom zap, they're real. You're not used to being stiff, looking at yourself and other people and attempting to keep eye contact. So it's about giving yourself a break. And if you make a mistake or your dog barks, then yes, own it and move on. So really be present, be grateful, think of that 5 to 1, and then give yourself a break and work towards harmony, not perfection.
Right. Your company, Presenting Powerfully, coaches on public speaking. You know, I think I mentioned earlier, I am very used to being personal with everyone. So this virtual aspect of business is definitely taking some getting used to. And obviously, it's not going anywhere. It's going to be a part of our business etiquette going forward. You know, how do we adapt to successfully presenting virtually when we're used to being so personal?
The good news is there are benefits to being virtual. So I'll talk about that and how to adapt. But just briefly, for any presenting, it's amazing. Public speaking is often Americans' number one fear about their personal fears. So they'd rather be doing many other things than what we're doing right now, Kelly. And 4 things come to mind is you want to be an expert. Number 1. Number 2, you want to put your audience first. And it's the difference of saying, I'm going to talk about, instead you say what you'll gain from this. So you want to shift that to put your audience first.
Right.
Number 3 is you get out of your own way, you know, get out of your ego and let things go. And the 4th one is come from a place of gratitude. So I say those, whether it's remote, virtual, or in person. Now, what's different about being virtual is you miss out on the vibe of the room and moving around the room and being able to capture some of that, and you can make up for it. For example, if you have a presentation, show the presentation, stop the share, come back in, engage, smile, use your movements out like this. And what you can do virtually is you can really own that square space and think your expressions, your voice and your tone carry a lot more. And then the best thing you can do is follow through, because you have the ability to do it a lot more with virtual than if you're in a room and everybody disperses.
Right.
So you can take advantage of it.
Right. Well, and from a time management perspective, it is a great way to get more and be in front of more people. And you know, there's a lot of great attributes to the virtual. So, you know, this has kind of pushed all of us into that and to webinars and just, I think, a few of us that have fought some of the technology. I think it's good for us to kind of get outside of the box. I know we're just about out of time, but the book, I definitely enjoyed the book. Again, Remote Work Rockstar. You talk more about communicating effectively, you know, again, mastering the mindset, meeting expectations, and you know, staying connected, meeting magnetism, which I wanted to talk a little bit more about that too, but we're just about out of time. I highly recommend the book. I know the information is on your website is on the screen there. So for everyone, please look into it. Debbie, thank you so much for being a guest on the show. I wish we had more time.
Thank you. I appreciate it. This was wonderful. And thank you so much, Kelly.
Oh, and your book launch coming up. We'll have to help share that as well. But again, thank you so much. All right. Stay tuned.
You're welcome.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back more with Getting the Edge. Welcome back to Getting the Edge. I'm your host, Kelly Wilson. Thank you so much for being with us today. Again, I know you could be a million other places, so we're so thankful that you're here with us each and every week as we provide stories of hope and inspiration, rebound and recovery with small businesses in the Tampa Bay community. Thank you to Debbie Lundberg, Remote Work Rockstar is really what she is. Debbie, thank you so much for being a part of the show. Thank you for sharing the details about your new book. Debbie also has a book launch coming up, I believe later this week, that we didn't get a chance to talk about. So for more information, definitely check out Debbie's website and definitely consider purchasing Remote Work Rockstar. So again, thank you again, Debbie, for sharing the details about the book. Excited about our second part of the show. As I mentioned earlier, Ashley Butler will be joining us, or is joining us, owner of Ice Cold Air Discount Auto Repair. Ashley, thank you so much for being with us.
Hi, thank you for having me, Kelly.
It's so interesting. I'm still getting used to having people like on the other side. I'm still getting used to talking into a camera instead of you sitting right next to me in the studio. But it's okay. It's okay. How are you today, Ashley? How you doing?
Today's an all right day. I'm all right. I'm blessed. I can't complain. Lots going on, but I'm still blessed.
You are always so optimistic. You share this optimism and charisma that I think everyone kind of gravitates and gets off of you. Thank you for putting out the positivity that you do, and it rubs off on everyone else. So thank you.
That's the goal.
Yeah, and I want to get in so Ice Cold Air, if you're in the South Tampa area, you're familiar with Ice Cold Air, and it's on South Del Mabry. I want to have you talk about the shops a little bit, but your signs out front are always these positive messages. Where did you come up with that, and how long have you been doing that? I know we all look forward to what's on the discount or the Ice Cold Air sign outside. Where did that come from?
I think it really just came of habit of being around the shop and just always having a positive outlook no matter what's going on. I mean, honestly, think about it. When people come to our shop, it's not usually planned. So, it's a flat tire, it's an overdue oil change trying to get out of town. So we try to shine light wherever we can. And that's one of the things that I just learned from being a child is shine light. And so basically our leadership team, I can't take all the credit, Jay Pinella, who runs our front desk, Adrian, our HR director, Julius, and we just all came up with, you know what? We don't really need to put free breaks and all those type of catchy things on the reader board. We should use our voice, use our platform, use this highway to share good. And what happened? For sure. Yeah, exactly. Share good, positive messages. Try to provoke positive thoughts. So it caught on, and we all have fun doing it. We talk about it every week, and it just works. We love it.
Are they changed out each week?
Yes, every Monday.
So who comes up? So you guys sit down as a team and kind of collaborate and come up with what's going up this week?
Usually that or customers. Jay comes up with a ton. Adrian sends in a bunch. Customers sometimes share, hey, I want to see this up there. And as long as it fits the culture of our company and who we stand for, we'll post what someone sends in to us or calls in and asks if we would post it.
I love it. I think it's a great idea, and I love quotes. And I've even seen people that share it on social media. Like each week, they'll share the most recent post of what was on, like your banner outside. So it has really caught on. And again, it makes us think and gives us something to think about and reflect on. That's positive. So great idea. Yeah. Well, tell us a little bit about Ice Cold Air. How did you get started with it? How long have you had the business? And tell us about some of the services that you provide.
Absolutely. So 2006, graduated, got out of USF, go Bulls. Left USF, had the opportunity to be in the dry cleaning business before, and had a little experience with real estate. So I had a little investment property, and met the founder of Ice Cold Air standing in line at Panera Bread.
Oh, is that right?
Yep. And so we're talking in line, and he says, man, I'm always looking for sharp entrepreneurs like you. And I thought that it was going to be a pitch to maybe join like an Amway type of business. And he was pitching me on a franchise. And it worked out. Here we are. This Friday, it'll be 14 years in business.
Congratulations.
So, yes, extremely grateful. The community is embraced us very well, supported us over the time. We just enjoy it. I'm a Tampa Bay native. Our manager on the front desk, he and I have been working together since 2010. He's a Tampa Bay native. And we just love being able to serve our community. We love helping. And so that's just who we are. We do a lot of give backs, things along those lines.
Well, I know you're very involved in the community, but so how old is the franchise? I know you mentioned 14 years, right?
Yeah, I've been a franchisee for 14 years. The franchise has been around, well, it started in the 60s, I believe, when Alan bought the first store from his brother. And so it auto air for a long period of time. Then it was ice cold air, and the franchise started within the past couple of decades.
Now, what an amazing opportunity. And I want to talk a little bit about your background and if you always kind of knew you wanted to own your own businesses. But first, when you have somebody, you see this man at a Panera, you think he's going to pitch you about, some type of Amway product or something. But, when he offers you a franchise, I mean, obviously, it sounds like a great idea. Like, what, as a young person, how do you make it happen? Like, what do you do? What tips and strategies can you provide to our viewers on how you made that a reality?
I can tell you what I would tell everybody, no matter what age group you're in. If you want to do something, you should find a mentor that's successful at doing what you want to do.
Yeah.
That has been the key to my success. Everything is that I'm standing on the shoulders of lots of other entrepreneurs, lots of other community leaders. I'm a student. I love it. I'm a big sponge. I pick up information. I learn stuff from kids. I learn stuff from, unfortunately, some homeless people. I can learn from anybody.
Never underestimate who you can learn from, for sure.
That's been the gift. My gift is to have 2 ears and 1 mouth and use it proportionately.
Yeah, there's a great leadership friend of mine. He's a leadership consultant, and he always kind of has said that it's not, you don't necessarily have the power when you're speaking. It's those that are actually listening with the power. He really kind of talks about effective listening, and it's such an amazing thought when you think about that. It is very powerful to listen. So many people think otherwise. It's when you're talking, but no, I think you're right. We can learn so much. I learned that through my early real estate career. Never underestimate anyone. You can learn from absolutely everybody. Everybody
Exactly.
has something to share. And it may not really, maybe it doesn't resonate with you right now, but I always say file it away, and you might be able to utilize it and pull it out of your filing
Later on.
Yeah, later on. You just never know. And I think when we also accept the fact that we don't have all the answers, I think that also gives us some personal power within us that we become sponges and want to learn more. So
Allow yourself to be vulnerable. Allow yourself to not know everything.
Right.
Allow yourself to be open. Take the good and leave the bad. It's just like trying on clothes. Try it on. If it's too baggy, take it off. If it fits, then wear it. And one day you might say, oh, I can now fit that. I'm now mature enough for that lesson. And so those are the things that I think I've learned in life, is just having tons of great mentors. Some taught me what to do and some taught me what not to do.
Exactly. I think we get there when we get there. It's we all kind of, again, mature at different times. Because I think about my kids and trying to implement, everything into them. I'm sure they're tired of me whispering in their ear and trying to always be that voice. But regardless of different stages of our life, ultimately we all get there when we get there, and hopefully sooner rather than later. Just when because it really is, it's a gift, I think, when we get to the point where we can acknowledge that we don't have all the answers. So quick story, when I was first started launching the magazine, I had reached out to the University of Tampa to Dr. Rebecca White and Kevin Moore to be contributing writers. And they were like, well, Kelly, what do you want us to write about? And I said, well, I don't know. I don't have all the answers. You tell me. Like, what do you think you should write about? And I'll never forget, Rebecca said, Dr. White, she's like, I don't think anyone's ever admitted that before. And for a moment I thought, oh, was I not supposed to say that out loud? Was I not supposed to? Yeah, was I not supposed to admit that I didn't have all the answers? But anyway, it's ever since that story has kind of stuck with me, and it actually, just makes me want to share that fact even more. I don't have them all, so it is about surrounding yourself with the right people. How it is, though, sometimes we don't always find those people. I know in my life I wish I had more mentors than I did. What advice and what have been some of your experiences with, is it just serendipity, do you think, that you've kind of found some of the people in your life that you have?
Yeah, and I think being active, keeping yourself present into the work that you want to be in. I've had people come along my path and say, why are you in automotive? You should be in philanthropy.
Yeah.
This is what you really want to do. And I would say, well, what I found out is what happens when you're in philanthropy is you got to go find the people with the money. So why don't I become a person with the money so that I can help with the philanthropists and be around those people, and we can be comrades, and we can all strategize on what can make the world better together. And so I think it's finding what really chimes in your heart first, and then you're going to create your circle of people with people who have the same rhythm. Maybe you have different philosophies creating that rhythm, but you all want the same thing. And when we can create that serendipity, where the right people come together at the right time, magic happens. It's just magic, and I don't know how to explain it. It's just, I've been fortunate enough in my life, just so blessed to have it happen to me time and time again. Whether I'm up or I'm down, the right message comes, and I just allow myself to be still and hear it. And I think that's a gift that I didn't give myself. It was given to me at birth, and I'm so grateful for it.
Your words resonate with me, because I feel the exact same way. I don't know if it's a matter of the way the universe works. We work hard and we put ourselves out there. We are aware of opportunities, and I think when you just I'm always messing up quotes. I always want to say them. They're always at the tip of my tongue, but I'm never going to get them out right. So I'm not even going to try.
That's what makes them even better.
But what is that one quote where it's not luck or preparedness happens, or when you're busy.
My aunt used to say, luck is when preparation and opportunity meet the crossroad.
That's it. And I think it's true. We don't wait for luck. I mean, we're out there and we're hustling, we're making it happen, and we're going after what we want. I am definitely a dreamer, but I'm also a doer, and I think that's what sets a lot of people apart. Many just dream, but when you do, when you dream it first and then you follow through with the do, it's, amazing things can happen. And I do think that the world, then the universe, kind of works at a certain pace where they come together. The whole entire universe conspires for your dream when you really, really mean it in your heart. The whole world will part and give you what you want. I really believe it. Yeah, I do too. And I think, it's interesting. I mean, not to say, I'm sure both of us, we've seen hard times. It's not been easy. We almost learn, though, to appreciate the obstacles in life, because once you get across them or through them, over them, around them, however you manage to go through, when you have a chance to turn back briefly to kind of just, I guess, admire your determination and your accomplishments, because we've all learned to celebrate the small successes, hopefully, that you almost realize why certain obstacles came into your path. Because had they not, you wouldn't have then gained the wisdom or met this person or everything happens. I do believe that everything happens as it should and for a reason.
100%. And it, like that song, it's all about the climb. I love that song. It's about the climb. The climb is the fun part. Building it is the fun part. Building the team, actually getting to love people, get to watch them fulfill their dreams. I got another guy about to buy a house next month. One of my employees buying a house next month. Those type of things, just give me goosebumps down my cheeks. Like, I want wealth and transformation for blue collar people. I want it for, like, there's nothing like watching other people create their vision and being a part of it and standing with them and helping them break down mindsets that are in their way, and just watching and really being able to do it just comes from people being there for me as I went through it, as I giving me grace. You know, bankers sitting me down, explaining balance sheets to me, explaining, you know, coming down, hey, let me help you understand this tax return. Let me share with you what K1 does. Let me show you what your choice is about this S Corp, C Corp. All of these type of things come from somebody seeing that you want something and they know something and they just want to give it to you. They pour it in you. They just like, you know what, this one wants it. This one wants it. And so anybody out there saying, listen, I want to do something, tell people who are doing it, tell people who are successful at it, because people who are successful are some of the most generous with their time, their resources, and knowledge. Maybe they aren't in a position to give you money, which is not necessarily the solve in a lot of situations.
Right.
They can give you life experience, stories. They can show you how to use tools. And like, I'll tell you about several different examples in our community. Suncoast Credit Union, phenomenal place to just work, share, grow, donate. They do amazing things. The Tampa Bay Chamber has the Minority Business Accelerator Program. I'm fortunate enough to be in the third cohort right now, created by LaKendria Robinson, and now Averill is Stenson. She's now leading us. Ralph Garcia is our cohort leader. They're creating education, creating formulas so that we can continue to take this good and pour it back into communities that may not have gotten it from a young age. These are the things that I feel the reason why I'm so blessed is because God said, I'm going to give you, and universe, God, listen, whoever you feel is helping you through is who I'm talking about.
Right.
So don't get offended. Get the message. Don't be offended by who gives it to me. Taking me from where I came from, putting people in the order of my life to allow me to now bring somebody who's been living in an apartment and thought they would never buy a house, had bad credit, started working for me $15 an hour, buying a house in a month. These are the things that get us goosed up at Ice Cold down 410 South Del Mabry. These are the reason for the reader boards. These are the reason why when the community is crying, we're doing backpack giveaways. We're doing all this is stuff we've been doing for a long time, simply because I was a recipient of such things when I was a child. You know, and so I know if people give and people care, it's going to happen. We do the same thing with our customers. We are a 100% debt-free, millions of dollars in the bank company, but we know the community. We know when people work, we can extend short-term little credits and we can help them get credit. Like we can help them through with their car. I remember being a teenager at Robinson High School. My aunt gave us a little dumpy truck, having to pour water in the radiator every morning so my mom could drop my sister off at West Shore, drop me off, and I would catch the bus to Robinson, and my mom would scoot onto the base where she works, and then I would put a gallon of water in the back, and so when she got out of work, my mom knew to pour it back in there. In the morning, I'd pour another gallon. Right. Things I knew about cars that I already enjoyed and learned and piecing things together have helped me be, I think, a better community business owner and a better person for the world because of all the stumbles. So a lot of times people see you when you make it and they don't understand what made you. So when you were just talking about when you take a moment to reflect and look back, you help me right now have a moment of just joy. Like I had a moment of joy when you said that, and I said, yes. Yeah. When you really take a moment to look back, you find out how you even got here. Yeah. And it was all these people along the way helping. And thank you, Kelly.
Oh, no, it's really, it's amazing when you have that opportunity to look back. And I think sometimes it's when you, who wouldn't want everything handed to you all the time and to have, an enormous amount of money and just, all of these resources just given to you at birth. But not everyone has those opportunities. So there's many of us in this world that have to really go after and hustle and work and find this inner strength that I think so many of us don't even realize we have. But it's I used to tell my mom that, because she just didn't understand the fact of wanting to be an entrepreneur. You're just supposed to get a job. You're just supposed to have a job. Like, what is it with you? She would get so upset. In fact, when I finally realized and heard the word entrepreneur, because of course when I was growing up, there was an entrepreneurship school, but I felt like there was a diagnosis finally, to what was wrong with me, because I was so innovative and always wanting to do these things. But my mother didn't understand it, and I think from my own spiritual connections, and because I think you do kind of go when you're trying to kind of understand yourself too. You kind of dive into this, and I remember telling her, it's bigger than you and I. It's God, it's the universe. Something's pulling me to do more and care about others and be this, being and the best version of myself that I can possibly be. And she did not get it, nor did many others, and it was really difficult with friends, family, anyone that just thought I was nuts for a while. And I kind of still joke, I'm this crazy woman on a mission. But it's funny, and I think that's so people ask me often, how did well, I didn't have my family to support me, or I didn't have this, or I didn't have that, and I'm like, well, I didn't either, but you can still do these things. I was a single mother when I decided, and actually had been gone through the real estate demise, and I didn't have savings, I didn't have the resources, but I thought, I'm going to create this community, and here I am all these years later, but it's like an entrepreneur jumps out of the plane prior to looking for the parachute. We find the parachute later. I used to think other people thought like I did too, and I realized that what you have, what I have, that inner desire and push is a gift. And I think we can help give that back to other people, which is what we have these platforms through Edge for, and the connections is to be able to do that, and you do that every day.
Absolutely. I've been very, very fortunate. Somebody else I met in my journey is Warren Rustin. He was one of the youngest people to ever work for President Ford at one point in history, and I got to go on a walking tour with him in front of the White House. And he was begging of all the entrepreneurs in the entrepreneur organization, another great Tampa Bay organization, if you're an entrepreneur, to get a part of. And we were there on a tour, and he said, we need more problem solvers. We need more entrepreneurs. We need more people who can take a nickel and turn it into 5,000. We need more people like that moving this nation. Because we're problem solvers, we're unifiers. We are about the solution. It's not about anything other than fixing it, because we just have a bug. I don't even know where it comes from. Things apart as a child. My mom come in the room, the entire radio's apart. She's about to have a heart attack. And music 10 minutes later playing, and she comes in, she says, you fix it. Yeah, some of us are just odd. Some of us are on getting better. Some of us just have this little thing, and we need to come together, and we need to pull these resources, and we need to create the community we want. That's why I really love what you're doing with Edge.
Thank you.
Had an opportunity to pay attention and really see what you're here. It's like she's here to pull this community together so we don't feel separated, and that's what we need.
That was the idea. It's was to unite and bring crazy people like me together, so that we because it is society, our families even. It can be difficult. And I just really, my mission in life is to help as many people as possible fulfill theirs, and by me doing so, I'm ultimately fulfilling my own, and that's really what I want to do.
That's the promise in thinking we're rich.
Yeah.
If you want to get rich, help other people get rich. Yeah. You'll be okay. If you want to be successful, help other people be successful.
Okay, one of the quotes, one of my favorite ones is Benjamin Disraeli, I think is how you say his name, but I think it's something like, don't just share your riches with others, show them how to create their own. And
Absolutely.
I mean, we're still, a business and growing, but I don't think of it necessarily as financial. I mean, it's in any means. But yeah, don't just share, show, and help and bring together. So
that's it. Teach them. You can give them a fish or teach them to fish. Out at the University of South Florida a few years ago, Jerry Bell, Andrew Fraser, Edna Rain, myself, Dr. Luz Randolph, and Tracy Muir, some people from the Foundation's office, all came together and we created a platform to help African American students get scholarships. Through that, we were able to create a mentorship program. Through that, we had Mosaic, the company, come in. From further activity, we had the Helios Education come to us, Kelly, and give us $2.1 million to keep this. I'm telling you. So when you talk about people who are just odd coming together for something they care about, a conversation over a few cups of coffee has now created generational scholarships for students at the University of South Florida. Now, you tell me, I see we're running down on time. You can't tell a kid who come from Section 8, come from every reason not to be, but just full of love, full of faith, right? They knew one thing, to take us down to that church. And when you get that in your heart when you're young and you learn to take a message and share it, don't give a fish, share a fish, or teach to fish, all these lessons, this is how this whole thing works. And it takes time and dedication and focus, community, and most importantly, it takes love. You have to love.
I think as when we're younger, we have that dreamer capability because we haven't yet had disappointments in our life and things that maybe didn't go the way. Although I've learned that most things that don't work out, they didn't work out for a reason, if you kind of, again, give that time to reflect. But I think one of the difficult aspects of life is to keep that dreamer mentality, implementing the doing part, when life doesn't always go our way. And often people have a few disappointments and setbacks, and then that's it. They become more on the victim side rather than a victor. And I mean, anyway, so it definitely, you have that, and it's just so passionately comes across talking with you today, Ashley. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. Listen, if knocked you down 8, you stand up on the 9th.
That's right. That's right. It's not about how many times you get knocked down. It's how many times you will continue to get back up and fight going forward.
That's life. If you can choose the outcome.
That's right.
You can choose how you respond to everything. You can't choose what happens to you. That is, you can't choose your parents. You can't choose a lot of things, but you can choose how you respond to what happens to you.
Yeah.
That is our responsibility. That is our duty, is to be in control of the gift. And nobody can control your light. Nobody can dim your light unless you let them dim your light. And that's just
if you give them that power, and you don't give away your power.
No way.
Ashley, thank you so much for being on the show. We need to talk more. We're going to bring you back on. We'll figure out some more things to do together.
We can have smoothies.
Definitely recommend Ice Cold Air. Definitely check them out. For more information, visit their website, icecoldair.com. Great discount auto services. Thank you for being a part of Getting the Edge today. Until next time, never stop dreaming. Thank you.